All right, I think we're live.
Perfect. Good afternoon.
Hey,
Welcome to the Wall Street Rundown. I am your co-host Wale,
I'm Billy.
and
That's
we got Billy on the line as well. So
sure.
yeah, I think we're good. So let's jump into it, man.
Yeah, let's do it, man. So exciting things in the market. We've seen some crazy stuff. The past 4 days, I believe the market has just been bleeding. We have seen like a lot of sell-offs happening, and there's a lot of different reasons for it, right? I think last time we got on here on Friday, we had a sell-off on Friday. Was it Friday that we had a sell-off? I think it was Friday or
Yeah,
Thursday.
Friday,
It was
Friday,
yeah,
Monday,
yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah. So we just been dropping, man. So you guys might be wondering, like, what the heck is going on? So um S&P was down today. I mean, we came up a little bit up, but we were definitely down today. Dow Jones was down, Nasdaq's down. Like it's like we just having some crazy drops over the past 4 or 5 days. NVIDIA also reported I mean, we'll talk a little bit about NVIDIA reporting. Tesla, Tesla been getting hammered. We went down to like below 300, and that was a critical level there that we lost basically on Tesla. Um, the other thing also, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is down, man. Everybody's hurting right now. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. But Bitcoin is also down. Bitcoin is down to like 84, 85,000 right now. So again, do you see sell off across the board? It's not just affecting stocks, it's affecting the cryptocurrency market also. It's affecting, whether you are big stock, it's just affecting everybody across the board. So yeah, let's jump into it, man. Wale, if you want to give us a breakdown of the market, why did we see? I mean, we were inching up a little bit today, right? When like I felt like we were doing good, and then all of a sudden we just had a sell off. So give us a quick recap of what do you see?
So today's sell-off was triggered after Trump had announced that April 2nd, the tariffs on Mexico and Canada are going to go into effect.
Yep.
And what we've seen all year, whether it's in the pre-market or the regular market, when the market hears the word tariff, we see sell-offs.
So
So
it's a
once
it's a bad.
exact, it's a triggering word.
Yeah.
So that's what triggered today's sell-off. But when you look at everything from an overall macroeconomic lens,
Mhm.
what the market is scared of is that they think that growth is slowing down.
Yeah.
And when growth starts to slow down, what you'll see the longer end of the bonds, the yield on those bonds, they start to come down. And when they start to come down, you start to see TLT go up. So if you look at TLT the last couple of days,
Hmm.
TLT has been moving up because the market is trying to price in that global growth is starting to slow down.
Yep.
So because of that, that's why we're getting that issue right now. So I have seen signs of slowing growth. We're going to get GDP tomorrow. So that will be a good number to pay attention to in the pre-market at 5:30 a.m. before market opens.
Yep.
And part of why I feel that we could see a lower GDP number than expected, or we could get revised growth lower, because we saw the consumer spending
Yep.
um, last quarter come down.
Yep.
We're also seeing consumer debt go up.
Go up.
So GDP, a big bulk of GDP is consumer spending.
Hmm.
Another big bulk of GDP is government spending. And you see Elon and Doge trying to cut that.
Cutting costs. Yep. Yep.
So that to me will probably translate into a lower GDP print. We'll see tomorrow. I could be wrong, but I think the market has a rational reason to be selling off. And I'll also say this: we're getting a little bit too hot. Let's be honest. Like we're stocks are starting to get a little bit too hot, especially
Yep.
you saw some of the big moves with like Apple Oven. We saw Planeteer. We've seen some stocks make some made. I mean, 100% gain on a stock in like year to date. Like we're not even done through like the first
That is
quarter of the
nuts,
year.
man. That is
A
nuts.
100% gain on some of these names for the
Yeah.
quarter. I mean,
Yeah.
you'll see some profit taking at some point. So,
Yeah.
we'll just have to wait and see where the market settles. We also have PCE on Friday. And with all of this tariff talk, now we're hearing tariffs with Europe, we're hearing tariffs on copper, we're hearing tariffs on cars. The market's got to digest all of this news. And the market doesn't like uncertainty, which is why you're seeing all of this volatility every single day. I don't like it as a swing trader, but it is what it is. What can I do?
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely a good time for scalping and keeping your eyes and your ears open on the news and see what's actually happening and all this stuff. I mean, man, across the board today, that's crazy. Communication service, XL. I mean, XLK surprisingly kind of ended up a little up today. We saw Intuit ran up. I think SMCI was up too. MU was up. So we're seeing some stock that actually went up today a little bit. That kind of kept um the technology sector just a little bit up. But overall, if you look across the board, everything is down. You know,
Yeah, because I think QQQ finished in the green, which was not bad, but
right,
it did come off the highs of the day. So
right,
when I kind of saw that, I was just kind of like, I don't like that. Don't like that at all. But for the most part, a lot of sectors that I have been looking at that are on the growth side haven't really been doing too well. And what I've seen so far this year, low volatility stocks have been outperforming growth stocks.
those stocks. Yep.
I don't know if you've noticed that. So there's an ETF that I use as my proxy for low volatility stocks. And if you compare it to SPY, it's actually trading better than SPY. And that ticker symbol is USMV. So if you type in USMV and you look at its year to date performance, USMV is the iShares MSCI USA minimum volatility factor ETF. So I kind of use this as my proxy. For up almost 5% this year compared to
Okay.
SPY, which is only up less than 1%.
Oh yeah, it's up.
So
Oh, interesting.
yeah. So low volatility has been outperforming growth stocks. So this is another reason why I think I mentioned this going into 2025. I was like, is this the year value outperforms growth? Is this the year? Is this the year? I don't know for sure, but so far, value has probably held up a tad bit better. There are pockets of growth that have been performing well, like software. And shout out to Rick Reeder for BlackRock, who says software is still a great idea for 2025.
Hmm. For
Software has
sure.
probably been the one area that has, I would say, has been the steady winner on the growth side. But the chips, you got good and bad there.
Yep.
Technology, you got good and bad there. So yeah, I'm kind of I kind of want to I kind of still like financials. I haven't made any moves on that sector just
Yeah.
yet, but I still like financials. And I just need to figure out when I'm going to make that move. But so far, the market just has a lot of unknowns. And every time a new variable gets thrown at it, it has to like readjust and reprice.
Yep.
So that's just what we're dealing with every day, and it sucks.
Those uncertainties definitely like investors don't like it. You know, investors like to know like tomorrow's going to be green, tomorrow's going to be green. Everybody knows it's going to be green, but
Mhm.
we are living in a time now. It's like tomorrow might be green with a chance of meatballs and stuff falling off the sky. You know what I mean? And tariffs coming down on you, and lockdowns, or you know some news coming up about another country or a war or something like. So it's like it's not a great place for investors like to not know what's going to be happening, right? Investors
Correct.
they like to be predictable. They like to know seasonality. They like to be able to move their money like, okay, this is the season where technology is moving, so I'm gonna take profit from financials and put it in technology, because like all those rotations. But
Yeah, sector rotations. Yeah.
when you disrupt that rotations, nobody know what the hell to do. So it's like you will see this gyrating moves in the market. Like one day we're up, in the next, like literally sometimes within this, like today, within the same day, the market just pulled back like crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I will say this. This is what I will say, you got guys like Warren Buffett who are just sitting on piles and piles and piles and
Yeah,
piles of cash.
yeah,
Like Warren Buffett is sitting on over I think 325 billion
yeah.
in
He's been sitting
cash,
on cash. Yeah, yeah.
and he's earning about 4% on his cash. So that's not a bad place to be right now
Um,
when you got that type of money. But one thing I'll say too is, as we get volatility, as we get these pullbacks, to me, this is an opportunity as an investor to put on your long-term hat on and make a shopping list of things that are going to pay off in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
yep.
Because can you make money on market downturns? Yes, you can. If you're an options trader, you can make money on that. But in the long run, most investors make their money as things appreciate over time. So put yourself in a position to take advantage of the market when that sell off eventually starts to rebound. We don't know when it's going to rebound. We don't know when it's going to turn around. We know it will at some point. So, what I tell people is put yourself in a position to take advantage.
Hmm.
So, a lot of the names I have that are long term, some of them are, I've given back a lot of profit. Some of them might even be red, but long term, I'm not in a place where I'm going to start panicking and like, oh my God, I'm going to get out of the
Right,
market.
right,
So
right.
always keep that in the back of your mind when you see these sell offs, is that, okay, this is just a temporary phenomenon. It's not going to last forever. Now, if we had a catastrophic event like COVID or some sort of like market crash like we saw in 2009, 2008, different story. But we're not quite there yet. So,
Interesting news though. Like the one thing I'll say is, I know we've seen like some headlines saying sell off, maybe like last week. But this week,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if I see anything that said, "Oh, market sell off," and I was like, "We've seen the market make lower lows," but it's like I don't see like big news that's saying like the market is in trouble and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So it kind of almost make me think that um something else is brewing, right? Because it's like when they start telling you the market is selling off, I think that's when honestly, that's when people are buying in. It's like that's when the sell-off is actually done, and now you see more investors coming into the market. But I really haven't been seeing like big news that say the market is selling off, something is happening. You don't see that at all. Like they'll talk about rallying today. It's like, oh, Nvidia's gonna report, we're gonna rally and all that stuff. Like Nvidia reported, actually that's the next pivot. Like Nvidia reported, and it didn't go anywhere. I mean, it
No, I'm looking.
beat earnings, like, but it didn't go anywhere. But I want to go back to what you said before. It's like investors are now expecting more from Nvidia, right? They don't just want like to beat. They want you to come out and say something crazy out of this world that's like gonna blow them up for it to see that run up again. So I want to get your input on the Nvidia reportings and actually like what's the outlook for them coming up.
So this is I'll always put this caveat out there. A beat on EPS and revenue doesn't always mean that the stock is gonna go up,
Right.
because again, investors don't care a lot of times about what you did last quarter. They care about what you're continuing to do in the future, especially if you're a hyper growth company like NVIDIA. So
Right.
let me give you, I guess, my rationale behind why NVIDIA sold off. I'm going to read something to you. So, NVIDIA reported its slowest sales of growth, or slowest sales growth in the past 7 quarters, with revenue rising 78% year over year. Now, people will say 78% growth year over year is actually really
Really good.
good. But when you were posting, year over year growth of like 200%, 100%, and now you're dropping down to 78,
70.
and
Yep.
the market was giving you a premium for that growth. That's not good. So you have to take that 78% year over year into context. What are you comparing it to? So if I'm
Mm,
comparing 78% year over year growth to previous quarters of over 200% year over year growth, that's a decline. Like, that's a decline. Let me put this in sports terms. Like, if you're averaging 35 points a game and 1 year, and then let's say you're now averaging 26, 25, that's still really good.
Right.
But if I'm comparing that to your 35 points per game that you had a couple seasons ago, you're on a decline. So that's what's happening with NVIDIA. They set really high expectations couple quarters ago, and they were running, and the market rewarded the stock for that
Big time.
run.
Big time.
Now it's starting to slow down, and the reason for the slowdown to me is it's on a couple things. Number one, U.S. is saying you can't sell your best chips to China, so that's restriction on revenue, right? And the second thing is that you're starting to hear rumblings about other companies that are starting to enter their space.
Right.
You're starting to hear that, hey, we can do what NVIDIA can do for you cheaper. And I'm pretty sure that there are companies out there looking into other businesses saying maybe NVIDIA is not the only option.
Yep.
So, what was I going to say? Okay, Blackwell chips, they said that they generated about $11 billion for Q4. And they said 91% of NVIDIA's sales come from data centers. And it says now Blackwell chips represent 30% more. I mean, Blackwell chips represent more than 30% of total data center revenue. So, from that standpoint, when you compare where NVIDIA was a couple quarters ago, as far as growth and where they are now, they are slowing down.
Very much
So, the,
so.
so the market is saying, am I going to pay a premium for NVIDIA moving forward? Probably not. And that's why you kind of see the stock kind of fluttering around. Like it's down, not down much, but the market was not impressed.
No,
And
no, you can
people
tell.
was
You can
yeah,
tell definitely. Like
the market was not impressed. So um like I
I
said,
hope,
it's
I
just
hope, I hope people didn't put a whole bag into it. You know what I mean? It's like because if you play,
someone did. I saw. Go ahead.
I was gonna
Say
say
what
if
you
you're
need to say.
trading weekly, man, you might not be happy tomorrow. That's what I can tell you. When you wake up tomorrow, you might not be happy at all. No.
So I saw a trade for a December call at the 95 strike for 21 million.
Mm,
That's a big order. But sometimes when people do that, they're more concerned about exercising their option to buy at that
to buy
price
that price. Yep.
because that's a real deep in the money
That's deep in
contract.
the
That's
money.
kind of like I call that the Pelosi strategy.
Yep. And plus, it's all the way in December. You know what I mean? So it's going to take time. They're
Yeah.
probably going to sit there for a while.
Yeah.
They're
So
not gonna.
even if that contract pulls back, it's so deep into the money that they're probably not going to be worried. And
Right.
at some point, what they want to do is to have the right to buy NVIDIA at $95, and they're going to have a $95 cost basis. They
Yep.
paid $21 million for it, which is a pretty hefty premium. But if you plan to hold the stock for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, then who cares?
Yeah. You just buy it for that
Yeah,
$95. But
yeah, just
but yeah, man, Nvidia. I mean, I don't think they're in trouble, but I think they definitely have to start thinking a little fast, like trying to figure out how to one, especially with that whole AI thing that came out of China, they might need to figure out how can we make it cheaper, how can we make it better too? Because it's like if those people are able to do, and I think they're using NVIDIA's chip, I think that's what they were saying. They are using one of the NVIDIA's older chips. So maybe it's time to you know look into how to beat that place. Like, how do you make your chip worth more and not charge
mhm.
all this crazy amount of money for it, right? So it's like now you have those expensive chips that people are like, do I really need to buy this? I mean, these guys are doing it with a $20 chip. So you pay it for a $500 chip? Like, nah, come on, man.
Exactly. So yeah, the thing what I'm seeing with Nvidia, and again, I don't know how this is going to play out in the long run, is if I'm the only one in the marketplace selling a product, right? And I set the market price, and everyone has to come to me to get what they want. And then someone else comes in who says, I can do the same thing cheaper, and they can prove that, right? And customers start seeing that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when you start to see a little bit of competition there.
Yeah.
And competition from a consumer standpoint is good.
Yeah, it was
Like,
perfect.
you
Yeah.
know, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really good. I get options to decide how much I want to spend on this product.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what I've said before is that as long as Nvidia is the 800-pound gorilla in this space, they're going to dominate.
Yeah.
But once we start seeing people enter that space who might be able to be more cost effective than Nvidia, then that's when you start to see some friction.
Yeah.
So, when you're the bully in the room and nobody's giving you a pushback, you can charge whatever the heck you want.
Absolutely.
But now we're starting to see that there's a little there's they're starting to see some competition in that space right now. So,
But how
um
much cost effective can they be if uh, producing chips in the United States is more expensive than producing somewhere like China or Vietnam,
correct.
Philippines, right?
Hmm.
But now with those tariffs and all this stuff, I wonder what kind of room they have to even like make their prices more competitive. Like if somebody comes out tomorrow, like we're able to replicate Nvidia's chips and sell it to you for 10 cents on a dollar, and you can just use it. Like, why would stop companies from like not going with Nvidia when they can invest in cheaper, faster chips? You know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
like with tariffs and all that stuff, and even like if you potentially move all your businesses to be able to produce chips here in America. Like, I mean, I think TSM is doing it in Phoenix and stuff. I bet you it's probably going to cost them a lot more than when they have like a factory in Taiwan, right? So it's like
Hmm.
you still got to take all that into accountability because all that stuff is still going to have influence on how much you're going to charge at the end for that product, right? Because you
Yeah.
have to you have to somehow recoup your costs that you use to build the chips and all this stuff. So I don't know. I think they might be not necessarily in trouble, but I don't think the chip is going to get any cheaper per se. But I think they probably have to just figure out a way to sell more of it and maybe
And
make
I don't
something. Maybe make something that's is so hard to replicate.
Yeah, and I don't know if the market is going to continue to give Nvidia the premium that it once had for the growth trajectory that they're on right now. Because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they topped out when they reported. Yeah, I think they topped out somewhere near like 250%
Yep.
growth, above a little bit of 250%. So now it's kind of like, you know, they got rewarded in the beginning, and now they're starting to get repriced at a different valuation now. So is it a bad company? Absolutely not.
No. No.
But would I wait to probably pay a cheaper price for Nvidia in the future?
Absolutely.
Maybe waiting is not a bad idea.
Yep.
Maybe waiting is not a bad idea. And that might be why that $21 million trade wants to buy Nvidia at that 95 strike
Yep.
because maybe they feel that that's what the stock is worth.
Yep.
So they're
Absolutely.
saying
Yeah.
we want the right to buy it at 95 because we feel that that's a good valuation for where the stock should be trading.
Yep. And they probably paid cheaper for that contract anyway. Right? Like you paying it when Nvidia's like at 131, so you know they probably pay a little bit less for it now. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So yeah,
but
I think someone who makes that type of trade is probably more interested in holding and buying the stock.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and plus at 3.22 trillion market cap. I mean, this thing is a big stock moving. So
Yeah.
it's not something tiny.
No, it's not. And you're starting to see with these $1 trillion market cap companies, like with Apple and Nvidia, like you get to a point where you start to top out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you really start to top out. Like
yeah,
in order for you to justify that market cap, I mean, you have to continue to put up stellar numbers.
yep.
And
Or better products.
Apple is one
Apple, God dang it, with the
or
phone.
better products. Yeah. Or better products. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of like some of these like smaller growth companies,
Mhm.
like that have more long-term potential to grow. Um, I'm not saying Nvidia is gonna like not grow from here. I just think that the growth will slow down because again, that 2022, I mean 2023, 2024. I mean that thing got shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's you're seeing some buyers exhaustion, which I think is normal for a stock that's been on the run that it has been on. Like
Absolutely.
you just have to accept that fact that okay, I have basically topped out, at a certain point because where were we at? From August 5th, when we had that nasty drop, the stock traded to about $90.
Yep.
From August 5th to January, so September, October, November, December, January, the stock went from 92 to about 153 bucks.
Yep.
That's a pretty elite run. And if we go back to April of 2024, less than a year, the stock went from 75 to 153.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an elite run. That's an elite run. So now the market is starting to say, okay, we need to see if we're gonna give you this valuation
We need more.
for that type of growth, you need to be able to sustain it. And
Yep.
what we're starting to see is it's declining. So
We need more.
yeah,
We need more. And the other
yeah.
thing that's also, if you guys notice, if you look at the daily charts, we have been creating lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. So we haven't really been creating any new highs. I mean, we,
Nope.
we have a
Nope.
we had a good run from that drop back in February, but
Mm-hmm.
we got topped at like 140 and then we dropped, So we shall see where we go from here. Another
Yeah.
interesting news. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Now I was just gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if this stock continues to trade lower.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it might just be choppy for the next few months.
Exactly. Could consolidate as well. Could just consolidate. Yep.
Yep. Another one that I want to talk about is App Lovin, man. I don't know if you heard the news about App Lovin and what's going on with them, but
Oh, I heard about that.
so basically App Lovin got shorted, right? Um by what's a company? The research firm called Fuzzy Panda Research. Fuzzy Panda. That's a funny name. Fuzzy Panda Research and Culper Research. So those two firms accuse Uplevel of engaging in unethical practices. That should sound familiar, including ad fraud, illegal tracking of children, and exploiting dangerous app permissions. So two companies come into mind whenever I think about that. I think about Roblox. Roblox is gonna have that same issue, right? The other one is SMCI. SMCI also has some unethical things happening with their finance, which we're gonna talk a little bit about them because all of a sudden we have the papers, don't delist us, keep us, keep us on the stock market, don't take us down. But um, but yeah, what do you think about that, man? Because they dropped like almost like $50 today, and I mean they recovered a little bit, but they were down like crazy.
Yeah, so with App Lovin, I know they came out and said that the allegations were baseless. So they came out real quick and they said, yeah, this is a joke. So we'll have to wait and see, but they were down 12%. Man,
Yeah,
they
they
hit a
were.
high of 525 a couple weeks ago,
Yep.
and they hit a low today of 288.92. That
That's
is a steep
That's a
decline.
crazy drop. That's a crazy drop. And the
So
crazy thing is, I saw those contracts come in the option, unusual option. I saw it come in, but I was like, I don't know, man. Should I jump in here? And those contracts didn't look good. I was like, man, but that was a crazy drop.
yeah, that's a nasty drop. And I would not be surprised if this thing continues to drop. I would
Yeah,
not be surprised.
yeah, because we have like a huge gap at what 229, 230, all the way down to like
Hmm
178, 179 around that area. So that's a nasty drop that's coming there too. So
and this is another stock that has been on a ridiculous run.
crazy,
Uh,
crazy, crazy run. Yes.
yeah, this is another one. And like I said, it to me when you anytime you see a stock and like I'm in Oklo and Oklo is also getting hammered. Anytime you see a stock that has the ability to make that type of run, know this. The same speed at which it went up is the same speed at which it can come down. So, and again, when you see a stock that has made a move like that in such a short period of time, you also have to be mindful that there will be profit
Very,
taking.
very, very mindful. Yes.
Yeah. So, it's just the natural course of how stocks trade. It is what it is. And again, if you miss the run and you're interested in the stock and you want to hold it long term, this is a time where you start doing your research and saying, okay, maybe I start making an entry.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know enough about App 11 to be honest with you. I'd have to do my research on them, but yeah, they have been hammered. Another stock that has been hammered is MSTR. Ooh.
MSTR. Ooh, so that's actually a good segue too, because it's like, remember we were talking about like, okay, Bitcoin and MSTR, right? Because MSTR, they have completely changed their business structure, right? They wanted to become the biggest holder of Bitcoin, right? But now you see Bitcoin is coming down, MSTR is coming down. What is happening there? I feel like we talked about this so many times before, but um what I think is happening is MSTR is selling shares in order to buy more
Mm,
Bitcoin, and I think that's
mhm.
what's happening right now. That whole correlation is happening. But now Bitcoin is dropping too. So guess what? They're probably going to accelerate their selling of shares in order to buy Bitcoin at a cheaper price. So it's this is a very interesting place to be, man. And I know we talked about like, is this a good strategy for them to be in Bitcoin worlds, or is this gonna come back and bite them in the ass? I don't know.
Because the thing that you also have to keep in mind is that they're not buying Bitcoin with cash flow. Like they're not.
Mm-mm.
They're issuing debt
Yep.
and they're selling shares of the company to buy Bitcoin.
Yep.
I don't know how it's going to turn out long term, but when you have sell-offs like this
Mm-mm.
doesn't help you. This does
Mm-mm.
not help you. MSTR did bounce at the 200-day EMA today. So if you look at it, what level is that right now? 249.81. It made a decent move today, about 5%. But if it loses that level has held twice it held twice in August and it also held in September. If it loses that level, I I would not be surprised if this thing starts to trade below close to 200.
Right. The
That
other
would
thing,
that
the
would not
other thing that
surprise.
yeah, the other thing I'll tell people is like, since we're approaching like the end of the first quarter, right? So March is gonna be here soon, and that's gonna be like what, the last month for this first quarter. This is a good time to start looking at the quarterly charts to be able to see actually where stocks are. You know what I mean? What are their hammers, shooters, or how are they closing going into the next quarter, right? If you look at MSTR right now, is it inside? They haven't really gone anywhere since this year started. You know, they actually dropped. They're actually like a lot cheaper now, from when this year started. And the way it's looking on the quarter right now, it looks nasty. You know,
Mhm.
so long term, this they might be in for a lot more trouble. And the fact that Bitcoin is still dropping, I don't know, man. This is definitely one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I know a lot of people are really they're big on MSTR and Bitcoin. Um, but I will say that at least from what I've observed, Bitcoin usually moves in the same direction as the stock market. Like
Yeah,
to me, I don't see Bitcoin as an alternative to hedge against the stock market at all.
yeah, yeah,
Like to me, they're both correlated. Like when stocks are up, Bitcoin's usually up. When stocks are down, Bitcoin's usually down.
yeah,
So yeah, we'll have to see how that story plays out. But I'm really wary. I'm really wary about that business model of not using cash flow to purchase Bitcoin and having to borrow money
yeah,
to purchase it.
yep. Because they definitely did this. I mean, MSTR is a technology and internet software service, right? But they
Hmm.
then I don't even know if they sell anything anymore. I don't know if they even doing like their product anymore. I think they're solely focused now on becoming the company that owns a lot more Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like it's a
Yeah.
strategy that they have right now. So
Yeah, because I think they had their earnings report, which was back on the 5th of February. And
yeah.
since then, the stock has been going down. And as a company, I mean, look at their earnings the last 4 quarters. It's
Hmm.
been negative,
Hmm.
negative, negative 8.26 per share, negative 7.62 per share, negative 1.72 per share, and now negative 3.2 per share. So operationally, they're losing money.
Yeah, because they're not selling anything.
Let me go to my favorite statistic. Let's look at free cash flow. Let's see. Let us see. MSTR. I mean, I'm not the smartest person in the room. Um, I'm not going to say that what they're doing isn't going to work. I just really think it's a very, very dangerous strategy. It's almost like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they're doing right now.
See, and I heard that they're trying to get GameStop to take all of their cash and put it into Bitcoin. Okay, let's look at cash flow. All right, MSTR cash flow. Let's see. Let's look at quarterly, not annual. Okay, so MSTR, I'll give you their last couple quarters of cash flow. So December 31st, 2023, 89.13 million. Okay.
Mhm.
March 2024, negative 53.2 million or negative 53.12 million.
Hmm.
I mean, this is net income before extraordinary expenses. And then June 2024, minus 102 million. September, minus 340 million.
Mhm.
December, minus 670 million. So when you look at net operating cash flow, they're losing about 17 million a quarter, which was actually down, which was actually better than the previous quarter, but they're still losing money.
Mhm.
Um, Capital expenditures, blah 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 blah. Financing activities. Yeah, change in capital stock. So yeah, they're selling stock. Uh, they're issuing a ton of debt. Whew. Change in long-term debt. So from September 2004, 2024 to December 2024, their change in long-term debt went from 482 million to almost 3 billion in long-term debt. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Um, Net financing cash flow 18 billion. Oh, Lord have mercy. Free cash flow, yeah, negative. It's been pretty negative. So, if there is a market pullback that's catastrophic, I'll be honest with you, this will be the first name I would short.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
And the reason for that is that they are so highly leveraged. They are highly leveraged. And if we get a sniff that there is some sort of catastrophic thing looming in the wind,
They'll be the first one on the line.
they'd be the first. They'd be the first one I would short. I'll sell my niece to short this stock.
Not your niece.
I'll put my niece on auction to sell this stock. I mean, to short the stock. So the numbers from a financial standpoint,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to make any predictions, but if there is a major market sell-off for whatever reason, like let's just say inflation is high, the Fed is talking about they're going to have to raise rates, I would come after MSTR. Like
Yeah.
I would come after them.
Yeah. So
So
we'll see. We'll see what happens with them, over the next few weeks or whatever. But yeah, it's not looking pretty right now. We'll see. You will see if this bounce at the 200 EMA actually holds. So
Yeah, if they lose that level, I'd be worried. I would
yeah.
be worried. Yeah, because Tesla lost that level today. Man, Tesla's getting hammered.
And speaking
Um,
of Tesla, oh my God. So let's see what's going on with Tesla. Tesla has UK market withdrawal. So Tesla announced that they're going to discontinue their Model S and Model X in UK, right? Despite the historical significance, declining sales have prompted this decision. So it hasn't been selling well at all in the UK. The autopilot lawsuit update. The Florida appeals court has ruled that in Tesla's favor, limiting potential damage in a wrongful death lawsuit. So there's a concern about their autopilot also, even though they
mm,
got dismissed. That kind of tie in with the whole self-driving taxi and all these different things, right?
mm,
And then China self-driving software. Elon just revealed that Tesla self-driving software in China was trained using internet videos of local roads and sign without on-ground testings. So they haven't even done this testing in real life. They're just showing the AI videos of roads and stuff. So again, ties in with this whole robot taxi stuff, right? Uh, so Tesla also wanted to launch electric vehicles in India. Now, this one is very interesting to me though, because if you have any idea of how people live in India, people would rather ride bikes and motorcycles than drive cars because India has the biggest population in the world. They have over I don't know how many billions of people live there. They have a huge population in the world. So for them to be able to move around, they actually use bikes and scooters and all this stuff, right? So I don't know what sort of I don't know what's that. I don't know who came up with that plan for Tesla, but whatever. If it works for them, great. But I think overall though, like I think investors are just concerned with again, Elon is all over the place except for his companies. You know what I mean? My man
I
is
had a
like out here spending all day on Twitter, just tweeting, retweeting, and in the office, in the White House, he's just doing a lot of stuff except for running his companies. You know what I mean?
so I
Now,
had
granted, he's getting like contracts left and right, but yeah,
I had a conversation with I got family in the UK, and a lot of people in the UK don't like his involvement with politics. He is not a very liked person in the UK at this moment.
yeah.
I don't know if his reputation is hurting his sales or maybe people are looking at better EVs because I'll be honest with you, I don't know if the China EVs are sold in the UK.
I
Like,
don't. I don't think
are
so.
they? You
I
don't think
don't
so?
think so.
Okay.
Nah, I don't think so. Like Neo, like if you look at Neo, Xpeng, and I forgot the other one, their cars are 10 times better than Tesla. I'm sorry. Like the way they look, the way they like the technology in them, it's amazing.
Way better.
But they
Way better.
can't be sold here, with all this crazy stuff happening, even with now with the tariffs. If those EVs come here, I guarantee you Tesla sales will plummet. That's how
So
crazy.
here, so
That's
here's my question. So are those companies only selling in China or are they selling in
well,
other
they're selling other
countries,
parts of Europe. They're selling other parts of Europe.
but not the UK?
I don't think they're selling in the UK. I really don't think they're selling in the UK. I think
Okay.
they sell. I think they're selling in Germany. I think they sell like outside of China a little bit also. But
Because
they
those
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 cars
ca-
those cars
those
are
those
nice.
cars, ooh, they're so
Yeah,
much better.
yeah,
So much better.
yeah. So
So
I don't know. Like I think this whole him involving in politics and all this stuff is taking his attention away, and two is putting him in a place where I don't know, man. Those investors might the shareholders might come one day and be like, dude, like we're going to replace you because you're not paying attention.
and from a technical standpoint, Tesla's got a gap to fill all the way down to 255.28.
Yep.
So I don't know if we're done. And if you look at the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, if you trade the strat, we're all red. So again, now from a long-term standpoint, hey, maybe it recovers. But right now, there's just a lot of and if you and it, to me, this is another thing that shocks me about Tesla. Um, didn't their last report? It wasn't really that good. Like it was kind of like but the
Yeah,
stock rallied.
which is
So
weird.
which was weird, but now we're starting to see the truth come out. And right now, there's a lot of noise around the stock. And now that it has lost that critical level,
Yeah.
um, I think that we could see a little bit more selling if we're not mistaken. I thought it was gonna bounce today, but
Yeah, even
yeah,
yesterday, like it kind of had like, oh, okay, we hit that. Even though we closed below the 200, we were still kind of like, okay, we're still okay. But
yeah, yeah.
now
Them sellers jumped in right away.
we're actually now heading toward that gap from the election.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about like that 250 area. If we lose, what's the next level? If we lose the 275, I think. Yeah, if we lose at 275, 276 area,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mr. Jones said most of those, yeah, most are sold in UK, but not, I mean, most are sold in EU, but not UK, and they're cheaper and better in every regard. Yep, I agree.
Yep. But yeah, we are definitely seeing a lot of sell off when it comes to Tesla. And even the way it closed today, man, is I won't be
And
surprised
I,
if we gap down like $20 tomorrow.
and I think it's down in the after hours right now, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken. Yeah, it is. We're at 287 right now. Ooh,
Still dropping.
yeah, yeah, we're still dropping.
Yep.
So
I got me a couple of puts, so we'll see how we do tomorrow.
good for you. Yeah, I would, man, I would have, I probably should have done the same thing. I got Tesla Leaps that expire in 2027, so I'll be red tomorrow.
Well, I mean, I think in the long term we will be fine, but he's like he just needs to bring his attention back to the company.
Yeah, exactly.
The
So we'll see.
shareholders like him, right? Like they like his innovation. They like his when he actually focus, like things actually moves, right? The other thing is that's like Elon actually, if you think about it, you have the SpaceX, you have
Mm,
Tesla, who's made cars. Then you have the Neuralink, whatever that thing that he uses, and then
mm.
you have the what is the satellite called?
Starlink.
So those are like crazy technologies for one person to have control over. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's like now you're able to provide internet all over the place, but you can also monitor everybody all over the place. That's a conversation for some other time, but it's crazy technology, y'all. So I mean, he has more satellites out there than anybody, any other country. His company owns more satellite out there in the skies.
If I'm not mistaken, was he trying to sell Twitter or X?
Oh, I don't think he's gonna sell it. He
Okay,
he loves that platform too much. It's giving him the ability to reach multiple people at the same time.
that's
So
true. That's true.
yeah, that's it. That's good. That's gonna be his tool to be able to kind of get stuff out there. Because tomorrow he can literally, if Elon really want to have Tesla run tomorrow, he can just come in and say, "Hey, I'm gonna focus on Tesla for the next 7 days. I bet you that stock will take off." You know what I mean? He has the ability to do that, but his focus is just not in the right place right now. Not at least not in his companies.
Speaking of stocks that are falling on hard times, it looks like AMD could start trading under $100 pretty soon.
Oh my God, AMD, AMD.
AMD, I've been looking at AMD, been looking at AMD, been looking at AMD, been looking at AMD, and I'm glad I've only been looking
It's been creating
because
lower lows, lower lows. Like this is like for in terms of technicals, this thing is going down, 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 down.
so look at this trend. Let's go back to this no February 7th. We saw a pretty good trend of higher highs and higher lows for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight days. And then on the ninth day, we saw a reversal. And
Yep,
now we see 1, 2, 3 straight days of lower highs and lower lows.
yep.
Oh
it's not
man.
going nowhere.
Yeah. I think AMD is going to start trading under 100. And the thing that sucks about that is AMD at one point was a $200 stock.
Yep. They definitely lost their edge.
They lost their edge. They lost it. And I've been saying this. I've been like, I'm looking for an entry, but every time I listen to their earnings call, I don't hear anything about where the growth is going to come from.
Yep. Yep. The other thing that I want you to pay attention to is TSM. TSM actually, if you look at their quarterly candle, they don't look pretty at
Hmm
all. You know?
I, I'm looking for a long-term entry in TSM. I'm gonna try and be patient,
Yeah.
but I still think, in my opinion, I don't care who you are in the AI story. If you want someone to build chips, chances are you're going to TSM.
Yep.
So
You're
I
gonna
still think that they still have market dominance in that space. I just don't know if I'm ready to jump in just yet.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe if they test this 200-day moving average, we'll see what happens when it gets there. But
Ooh, that's a steep drop.
yeah, we're at what, 194? Yeah, 181
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah. So another
Yeah,
$10
yeah, another $10. I'll be taking a look. But TSM has been pretty choppy. But this is one that I want to hold like
long term.
long term. So I might be looking at shares rather than looking at options.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
in other good news, snow reported today and it took off. So I want to see how that actually impacted the other cyber.
Software names.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Snow went from 153 all the way to 180 right now. Ooh,
Yep.
wow.
It's moving.
Yeah, near 180 right now. Yes, Snow made a really, really strong move. And remember what I said? I said software is a place to look at
Okay.
this
Yep.
year. And I think BlackRock's head of global allocation, Rick Reeder, said the same thing yesterday on CNBC. He said software is a good place to look.
Hmm.
In specific places, not every software
Not every
company.
software. No.
So
Absolutely.
to me, if I were to pick a specific segment of software, I think cybersecurity is where I would be looking.
Right.
So Snowflake, I think, plays in that sandbox.
Hmm.
Planeteer has played in that plays in that sandbox. Palo Alto, who's another one? CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike
CrowdStrike.
plays in that sandbox. Yeah. I think CRM was down today. They're a software company, but they're down today, if I'm
I
not
mean,
mistaken.
CRM. I don't know how much can you do with a software company that you track sales and keep track of customers and stuff. Like I don't know how much more you can do with it. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. I mean, they talked about their deploy of what, AI agents. They talked about that, and what we're probably going to see tomorrow is we're going to see it trade below the 200-day for the first time since September.
yeah,
So this one might be headed lower as well.
yeah. Because
So, but
we use Salesforce for work and stuff, but it's like it's one of those things that's just like how much more can they add to make it like to do certain things? You know what I mean? Like I just don't know where the innovation is gonna come from. Like every time I
I
look at that
agree.
stuff, I was like, where is the innovation gonna look from? You know what I mean?
Hmm
The AI crave was exciting, but it's like it fizzles away. Like, what are you guys gonna do? You know? So I don't know.
Yeah, another name that's kind of in that same boat where you ask yourself where's the innovation going to come from, and they're a software company, Adobe.
Same thing. Yep.
Adobe is a stock that has not done anything. Like I'm going back to their high of 587. Then they made a lower high near like 550 after their last earnings report. And they've got another one coming up right now, but they're trading around four something.
Yep.
Adobe has been, it's been nasty for Adobe. And this is what I'll say too. Um, it always takes time. Every every company that touts the AI story, the line will be drawn in the sand about who the real winners are and who the losers are.
Absolutely.
Everybody who touts that they use AI this, AI that, the line will be drawn in the sand, and there'll be clear winners and clear losers.
Yep.
And we'll have to wait and see how that is, because that's how the .com era was. Like, everybody was touting all kind of BS, and eventually some
Yeah.
people disappear.
Eventually
I'm not
fizzles out.
saying, yeah, I'm not saying that some of these companies are going to disappear, but if you have an AI story, but you don't really have a use case that people care about, it's a
Yes.
waste. It's a waste of money.
And that's the biggest thing, the use case.
It's
What
the
am I
use
going to use
case.
this thing for? Like, how is it going to
It's the
help me
it's the
as a
use
company? How is
case.
this going to help me make more money? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
As a user, how can this help me make my life better? Like, it just,
Hmm.
if it's not there and you have a very limited time to come up with the answer for that. If you can't come up with that, guess what? People move on. Like, hey, I'm not investing money in this. I can just do this the way I'm always doing it and save more money. Like it don't make no sense, you know. So you can't justify that expense as a company to purchase
Exactly.
something that's not gonna make anything better for your employees or for your company. At the end of the day, companies want to make money, right? That's they want to be able to make money for their shareholders. If that's not happening, guess what? They're not going to be able to justify buying a new
Nope.
software.
Yeah. If you put in all this money into AI this, AI that, and you don't get an ROI because your customers don't give a you know what about it,
Nope, nope.
yeah.
And also that might be a big problem also for Nvidia. It's like you can make all the chips you want, but if they can figure out what to do with the chips, what AI to use for that chip, eventually your customers gonna be like, we don't know what to do with this chip. It's powerful,
Or
but
or if your customers say, you know what, we don't need that powerful of a chip, we'll go somewhere else.
yep,
And that's,
yep.
you got
We can
another problem because
we can do the same thing we do right now with a cheaper one. So
correct, because some people's AI use case may not be that complicated.
right,
It may not be. It may not
absolutely,
be.
absolutely.
It may not be. It's like someone who says, hey, you know what? I need a car. This is my budget. And they're like,
Yep,
hey, you can go buy a Mercedes or you can go buy, a nice Toyota.
you're right.
And it's like, you know what? A fully a fully equipped Toyota might do the same thing that a base model Mercedes does.
This is so funny,
I'm
man.
I'm gonna go with the Toyota.
You remember this video I watched. This guy bought I think it was like $1.2 million car, but they couldn't turn it on. They had to push it to his garage. The reason being it's a race car. As soon as you turn it on, you have to
Oh,
go. If you sit down even for 30 seconds, it's gonna overheat and the engine's just gonna blow up. So you
wow.
have to literally push the car into his garage. You can't turn it on. You can't turn it on and go like 30 miles an hour. No, this is one of those cars you just take off with it. So you're absolutely right. Like, what is the use case for this shit? Like, you just spent $1.7 million on a car that you can even use, right? Same
That
cases
just
with the chip. Like, you can spend all this money on the chip, fancy. What would you go use it for?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
so
Exactly. Yeah. So
it's
we
crazy.
shall see. Yeah, we get GDP tomorrow in the
Yes.
morning, and then we get PCE in the morning on Friday. So two very crucial data points that will, to me, add a little bit more clarity about where we're headed.
You
So
predicting sell off if GDP comes.
to me, if GDP comes in light, because I think, let me see what it says. GDP, yeah, fourth quarter for 2024, the second estimate. So this would be I wonder what the first estimate was. So this is the second estimate for GDP for the fourth quarter,
Mhm.
which I guess is like a more of an accurate number than the first. So
Hmm.
yeah, if the market shows gets a hint that we are slowing down growth wise,
Mhm. It's gone.
yeah, I think we'll see more
Which I'm
selling.
ninety
And
percent sure we're slowing down.
I think I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised because I see things that are pointing to that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah. So trade lightly tomorrow, guys. Make sure you keep your eyes on your port as usual.
Yeah, man, I've been scalping. That's basic. That's pretty much it. And I'm not even a scalper. It's not really what I like to do. It's not even how I like trading. But I will always say this: you have to trade what the market gives you.
Yep. Yep.
The
Absolutely.
the market does not care about your predictions.
But overall, I think we needed this pullback. As we talked so many times about it. Like we need this pullback. We needed some type of relief, and keeping an eye on the VIX, like you said. We are like what 20 today. I think we dropped to 19.
Yeah.
Yep, we
And
bad.
I'll also say a VIX level to watch is 2020 on the VIX. We've been getting rejected there.
Mm-hmm.
If we get above 2020, I think the VIX will start heading to 22, which is not a good sign. So, yeah, be mindful of that. So, um,
Oh yeah, we definitely got rejected at that same exact level again. It wicked through it.
mhm, mhm.
Those wicks, man. Oh my god, that's an easy way to know. Like whenever it wicks like that, it just creating liquidity. You know what I mean? And that's what's happening right now. So I won't be surprised if we took off in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll
Not
see.
surprised. But yeah, man.
But yeah, that
Any last
nah,
advice, anything like that?
nah, that's it for me. That's it.
All right, y'all. Well, you guys have a good night. Please make sure you join the group. Click on the link in the bio. Yeah, we always having fun in there. But if you want to
Like
be,
and subscribe, like and subscribe. I
yes,
think we're
please.
almost to 50 subscribers in 2 weeks. So we
Yes.
appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Share with your friends, share with your family. Again, our goal every week, share good, objective information that's useful to help you navigate capital markets. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. We enjoy it. And like I said, we hope that the information has been helpful.
Yep. All right, man. Well, y'all have a good night, and we will see y'all on Friday.
All
Peace.
right, take care, everyone.